can wait just other 2 minutes. So maybe we wait for the last one that want to join, and then we can start. Okay.
Ciao Andrea.
Buonasera.
Buonasera.
I just said that we are waiting other 1-2 minutes and then we start.
Thank you, perfect.
So I think we can start because we are really on time, and everyone will have the recording of this video. So just to start, I just wanna say to you, ciao to everyone. I'm Andrea Paoletti, and I'm very excited to be here. I know that you had and I follow different lessons so far, but yeah, I'm very excited. So tonight we are gonna, I'm gonna now to share the screen so you can follow as usual a presentation. And give me one sec. Okay, it should work. We are here. Okay, I'm presenting. Okay, here we are. So tonight we are going to talk about communication strategy. But first of all, let's introduce myself because, as I told you, I'm very excited because I'm one of the co-founder of Casa Netra, that is the project leader of the Open School for Villages. So I'm excited for this reason because we dream a lot about this project, and now that you are and we are together all involved in this project is like a dream that's become true. I know that we have been some problem with the infrastructure, the digital infrastructure, the platform. So I'm very sorry for that, but we are really putting all our energy to make it more easily to use for you. So as a co-founder, as I told you, I'm a co-founder of Casa Neutral and also Wonder Grottole. And some of you will be in Grottole, so I would be very happy to share with you the experience of Wonder Grottole. My background basically is I'm an architect, but I'm also a co-designer of participatory and community building processes. I work around relational design, and that's the reason because tonight we are going to talk about communication strategy. The last two lessons were about how to create a community and also how to do co-design and co-creation. And tonight, the goal of this activity is really about how to create a communication strategy. But what you will learn is how to aggregate your community through communication channel, how to define and manage an editorial plan, and also the importance and how to create a database. We're gonna go through different parts, and I will ask you also to take some of your time to work directly on your project because, as you know, we really want that you always put your hand on your project. So the different parts of tonight is about 1 hour and a half of lesson, and I will try to stay in this time, is analyze your project, then outline the goal of your project, identify the target audience, define the content, identify communication channel, and monitor and measure that. So now let's start. And this is really important to take some time together. So now to start, let's really start from your project. So what I will ask you is really to take a pen and a paper, or just to write also on your laptop. But what I'm gonna ask you is really to start to think about your project in this moment. So I will give you 3 minutes to answer to this question. What's the online presence of the project at the moment? It could be, you could have an online presence or maybe not, but just put down your answer. Then what are the active communication channels? So what does exist in this moment about your communication channel around your project? And also, do you have a contact database? And if you don't know what is a contact database, it doesn't matter. Just put no, and then we go through this lesson. But what I really want to do with you is to focus and do some work together. So please take 3 minutes. Is 5:37, so let's say 5:40. You finish this work, and then I will continue. Thank you very much. Okay, it's 5:30, so I hope that you had enough time to answer. But even if you haven't had, you can take some time later. I'm asking you this question because we selected you not just as ideal project, but really as a practitioner. So you are already doing something. So for me, when I speak about your project, it's not just the future idea, but maybe starting also from what exists already now. because maybe your project that you took to the Open School for Villages is an implementation of what you are doing now, or is a new project. But of course, do you? I think some of you already have some communication channel. Okay, so going on, we have, I present you other four questions actually. This is point number two. It is who am I and what do I offer? For example, I put you here the example of Wonder Grottle. Wonder Grottle is a social, that is the project that I'm one of the co-founder. So said Wonder Grottle is a social enterprise that works to revive the historical center of the village of Grottole, 30 kilometers from Matera, through the regeneration of abandoned houses and the creation of a new community. So now, what I'm asking you, and please again, put down, write on a piece of paper or on your laptop, these answer about this question. The question is, do you have a brand name? When I speak about brand name, it's like Wonder Grottole. Do you have a project name? What are the opportunities and specificity of the project? What are the vision and mission of the project? And what are the values, benefits, and product of your project? These are four questions, very, very important. You don't need to have all the answers, but once again, this exercise is helpful, I think, for you to start to focus also on the way how we communicate our projects, or maybe to understand and be more conscious about the gap of our communication. Because as you have done last week with Massimo and Elisaba, about the co-creation process and the construction of the community, it's very important that you have in your mind a clear idea about what to communicate to the people in your community. Otherwise, they will not understand. So now I will give you other 5 minutes. So it means 5:48 to put down this question, focus on the answers, and then we are coming back here together. The answers are not important for me, are more important for you. So I'm gonna ask you that you don't need to put it in the chat, but just for you. So write down on a piece of paper on your laptop. Thank you very much. Okay, we are back because it's 5:38. I hope it wasn't too difficult to do this exercise, but as I said before, it is also an exercise to be conscious about what we are doing, what we have done so far with your projects. So now let's go to the third part again. I'm gonna ask you which keyword. So how do I want to position the project online? You know about the hashtag, about the keywords. And so I'm gonna ask you which keywords help the user to find me on the web. And there are these, for example, I give you again some examples that are the one for Wonde Grottole, that is Wonde Grottole, co-leading, leading culture, community, reconnect, culture, Italy. So I'm gonna ask you again in 2 minutes to think about your project and put down the keywords that are essential and very important for your project. You can also put down some words if you haven't never have done this work before, but then just select some of the words that are very important for you. So I give you other 2 minutes. So it's 5:39, let's say 5:52, and then we continue. Thank you. Okay, so now let's continue. I hope these exercises were helpful for you because now we go to the next step. It's about when we speak about analyzing our data or what we have done so far, it's always important also to analyze what we call competitors, or I like also to say they are not only competitors, but people or project we like. What I do normally with Wonde Grottole is really to search on Google or looking for other projects very similar to what we run here to look what they are doing. So I'm gonna ask you now to do another exercise. It's about analyzing just one, but this is an exercise that you can continue to do it also in the next days or just taking as part of your practice, that is really analyzing your competitors. So the question that you should answer is, who are the competitors? They could be local, national, and international. I don't know if the people, like the one of you that follow the lesson from really the beginning, you have seen that the first page of the presentation was the entire world. And this means that for me, when we speak about competitor, it doesn't need to be just local. Always think more in an international way. So really find who are the competitors for your projects locally, nationally, internationally. Then what is their online presence? So do they have, what are the communication channel do they use? How many followers do they have? What engagement rate do their social channel have? It means if they put out a new post, for example, or a post, for example, on Instagram, a new pictures, how many people are putting like or they comment? This is the engagement rate. And also, what are the keywords that they normally use? So now I'm gonna give you other 3 minutes. So let's say 5:58 to think about who is your competitor or who is a product that you are taking inspiration from, let's say also in this way. And please answer to this question. Just to one. Then in the next day, you can do more about these competitors. So let's go. Okay, we are back. Hopefully, okay, hopefully, um, yeah, this is what Ivana says is important on the comments. Thanks, Ivana, for these answers because give me also the opportunity to answer you because she says there are no direct competitors. There are some projects related to food, but the popular one in Indonesia not related to traditional cooking. Um, uh, my opinion is always that there are always competitors so far. Of course, your project will be peculiar or very specific. And this is the interesting part because everyone is looking for a new, like a niche of in the market. But at the same time, when I speak about competitors or projects that inspire you, it's important also to say that of course there is in the world something that is similar to your project, and this is the reason because our competitors or something similar. I can give you, for example, another example. When we I'm also the co-founder of a Casa Netra, it's a co-working, co-living space in Matera. At the beginning, when we were speaking about co-living, we were the second space in the world that we use this word of co-living. So we had only one competitor in San Francisco that was the first co-living. But of course, there were projects similar to ours that even if it wasn't called co-living, it was something similar. So what I'm telling you is always find something similar and try to learn from their experience what you can get because so you will be always forward and you can have some insights from them. Okay, this is the option. Okay. Okay, but the real reason why we are doing something, for example, last week it was why we are putting the people together, why we are working on our project. So the real reason is the objective. So the goal of our project. So this question why is the most important to communicate, but at the same time to aggregate our community and to support our project. So the second part of this presentation today is really about how to outline your goals. When I mean your goal is the goal of your project. First of all, I want to just underline the difference between marketing goals and communication goals, because today we are speaking about communication goals. So for me, it's very important to underline that marketing objectives, so goals, are those long or medium term business objectives, which are usually linked to commercial or economic results. These kind of objectives are hierarchically superior to those of communication because they contribute to determining them. The communication objects that are the things like that we are talking today are more short-term goals that communication must achieve in order to at least partially satisfy the achievement of marketing objectives. I don't know if it's clear, but I want to give you an example. It's an example on a commercial way, but I think all our projects are based. I mean, this is part of our school, the Open School for Villa Giusta. It's really a school where we want to give you insights about how to have a big vision, then how to create a community, but at the end, how to be sustainable. So we really need to focus also about how do we stay in the market? How do we sustain our projects? So my lesson about communication is a mix between creating a community, like understanding the market, but at the same time about how to sell something, also a social project. So just to give you an example is, for example, our company has an e-commerce through which it sells shoes, and we want to launch a new model of sneakers. This is just a general, very easy, everyone can understand it. So the marketing goal is to launch the new women's running line. It's a bit generic, but it's a goal. Okay. The communication goal, okay, for example, is what is my course today is about creating awareness, generating new traffic on the section of the site dedicated to the new line. Okay. So now I give you some insights about how to outline our goal. So the goal must be very specific. Okay. So just to understand what are the goal of my communication, what should I do? So the goal must be very specific. Your goal must be clear and simple. So, or you will not be able to focus your efforts. If you say just, I want to communicate something general, need to be very specific. Measurable, your goal should be measurable so you can track your progress and stay motivated. This means, for example, I want to reach 100 people. You don't say I want to reach 1,000 of people, just 100. You can track your progress. You see if you reach it. And so for this reason, if you reach it, it's motivated. The other part is the goal needs to be achievable. This is very important. As I said before, it can be a challenge. So let's say 100 people I want to reach, but don't say something that is not realistic. For example, if I say 1,000, it is not realistic. So achievable. The other is relevant. Your goal must be important to you and align with your other goals. Then time-based, your goal must have a deadline. So for example, you can say, I want to reach 100 people in 2 days. This is important so you can focus on and with which you can plan all the activities. Now, there are different kinds of goals. There is, for example, the goals of brand awareness. So it's the brand project awareness. And the awareness is about increase the awareness of your company, your brand, or your service. Then there is the coverage goal is show your, let's say, AD to as many people in your target audience as possible. So the more people they know about your product, the more you are happy in this case. So for example, in my case, if I think about Wonder Grotto again, I want to make sure that people want to understand what's the goal of Wonder Grotto. It is about revitalizing an historical center. So I want to tell the people that if they read Wonder Grotto, that means. Or I want to show, for example, if we speak about coverage, for example, I can say I want to really reach at least, I don't know, 200 people more in 1 week. So this is the goal. Then other goal that we call under the keyword of consideration, there is the traffic one. So we say send people from Facebook to the destination that we want. For example, to the website or to a blog post, to an app, to a call. For example, just to tell you, today we just sent out our newsletter. And if you send a newsletter, then you can ask the people to press something so they can get somewhere. So this is about creating the traffic. Then interaction. There is reach the people most interested in engaging with your post. Interaction includes like, comment, and share. So these are questions that you can ask to your, let's say, public, your community, and they can interact with you. So you are asking something for them. Then if you have an app or if you want to direct people to a store, maybe in the future, some of you working with agriculture or with local products want to ask the people to buy something. So then your goal is to make the people buying something. Then there is the video visualization. Here also is share your company's video with the people on Facebook or on other communication channels. Then there is the lead generation. Collect leads for your business. It means that you want to get together, so aggregate people that are really interesting around your product or your service. because they are really interested maybe in what you are doing, in the value that you are sharing, in the public that you are working on or on the territory for different reasons. Then there is the messages. So connect with people on Messenger, Instagram Direct, and WhatsApp. So are people that you really interact with these people. It's not just something passive, but you are working directly with the people. And then the third part that I want to share with you is the part that is called conversion. So it's really encourage people to take specific action in our company or project side, such as download the app, registering on our site, calling our company. And this is very important, this conversion, when we speak about aggregate people. So creating your own community. You want to have people that, of course, they know about your project, they know about, I don't know, your name and what you are doing. But if you want to have people really close to you, aggregate, feel like you really share something, then you need to have a very conversion. So people, they just read or look something in a passive way. People, they are proactive. And so this is important what Massimo Elisava told you last week is about how to co-create and co-design processes. So this is part of the co-design process too. But when we speak about co-design, about aggregate people, we are saying about to who I'm communicating something, to who I'm doing something. And this is important about the target. So who is my typical customer? Understanding this part is very essential to define what is coming next, that is the tone of communication. Should it be nice, serious? Should it be formal, informal? This depends on your customer. For example, I'm an architect. I don't need to wear my tie. I can be sporty because my customer are people that they know that I'm an architect. If I would work, for example, in administration, normally people have tie because this is part of communication also, our body communication. So then is the property of languages. If you use technical terms or simple words, for example, if we work on, for example, one that Draftole works with social innovation. So we normally use technical terms that are used into the world of social innovation. But sometimes when we work with local people that they are not really aware about social innovation, we normally use very simple words that everyone can understand. Then, if we know who are the customer, we can understand also and define the creativity. So what kind of pictures and videos we should use, but especially what are the channels that we are going to use. So in this case, about the social media, the website, WhatsApp, online media, and offline devices. But what we need really, what we need to understand, what is important to define the customer is really to outline who are the possible customer for our project. And so the methodology or the tool that we can use is the buyer persona. Of course, I'm sure that some of you already use the buyer persona. And for this reason, I will go through with you through this buyer persona, but this is, I don't want to give you an exercise now. I just want to go through this list to make, to tell you what to do to define the buyer persona. But then I will give you a homework for next Thursday, and we will go through it. Because if you go on Google and you put template buyer persona, you have thousands of models, very simple. But I wanna go through you into more deeply in the buyer persona because this is very important. Because once again, even if this exercise looks without a precise purpose, or sometimes you say, oh my God, I need to do another exercise. These are very important to understand more and more deeply who is your target audience. And so also the idea of your project or your project can change in front of a different target audience, because to define that, it can also define better your project. So let's identify our target audience. So then we can create content based on their needs. And so we can also speak to them through some channel that they prefer. And so arouse their interest. That is the things, the goal that we want to reach. So first of all, when we think someone in front of us, we can give him a name. We can say what is like all the demographic information, like how old is he, what is the kind of education, what is the family about, if he's a single, he has a family, he's coming from another family, so this thing. Then second part, what is his role in the family, and what is the role in the society, and what is the job. These are all important things. Then how they spend their typical day, what are their problems and what are their desires. I really suggest you to think about their problems, because normally what we do, this is also what you are doing in the module of service design, is about how can we solve this problem. But it's also very important to figure out what are the desires of the people, because we can like think about new projects that are focused on the desire of people, not only on problems. For example, for the people that are working on attracting new people, for example, in the rural areas, we are not just working on their problem, we are working also on their desire. So then how you can help solve their problem? What are the most frequent challenges for the target audience? And then what they think they are the most important things for them, and then the communication channel they use. For example, there is no meaning to use, for example, TikTok if your target audience are people of 50 years old, because normally 50 years old people, they don't use TikTok. Or at the same time, there is no reason about using Twitter if your target audience has, I don't know, between 15 and 20 years old. Okay, just to make it clear. Now, buyer personas. Number two, this is I put you these pictures below just to show you this is an exercise that we have done when we were designing this training, the training of Open School for Villages. So with all the partners, we have been working also on the buyer persona. And so it's very important for the buyer persona, underline what are the goal of our audience, how they measure up, and what it means to be a successful one by their standards. This is very important. Then, what are the main sources of information for them? So where they get information on social media, blogs, sites, what do they do normally? This is very important. What do they expect from your products or services? And what kind of experience do they expect to get? This is important. For example, if they come to you, what do they expect? What kind of, how do you solve their problems? Or how do you give them a project or a service that is matching their desire? And also, what are the main objection in relation to your product or services? What they couldn't like it about it? This is very important. I suggest also to give to your persona a specific name. It could be something that you already have in your mind, because maybe are already people close to your project. But at the same time, you can also imagine something completely new that is an audience that you have to reach, you still have to reach. So now, before going on, I ask you please to write in the chat if everything is clear so far. Just put yes and also I understand if what I'm saying is clear or not. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Natasha Sek. Okay, thank you. So now, next step about the presentation of today is how. So we say before it was to who, now is how do we communicate? This is very important part. So there are different communication channels. This is the lesson of today is really to give you an overall view of the communication before going deeper with Rocco. They will give you a lesson on Thursday and they will tell you about how to develop a story inside of your project. But today is more to give you an overall view on communication and also to understand what's the role of communication. Sometimes I don't know if you have already had this experience, but sometimes I speak to people that they are having incredible products or services, and then they put a budget because someone else, like has to develop the communication. For me, for my way to work, and this is also what we want to underline inside the Open School for Villagers, is that communication needs to be part of the process. So it needs to be part of the design of your project. So we need to have clear in our mind the importance of this part. That is an important for aggregate community than to drive out the service and product and so to make also sustainable our project or to express the value of our social purpose. So about the identify communication channel, there are many. So this is something that you need to keep in your mind. And this is also important why through the buyer persona, we can understand what are the communication channel that we should use. Otherwise, there would be too many. So there is the website, there is Google My Business, and close to the description, I put in the presentation also why do we use this one. For example, website is for indexing, service overview, and authority. Then there is Google My Business, it is authority, services to show to the public the hours, location, and also review about our product services. Then there is Facebook, normally is to tell a story, a power story is a community creation. Then there is Instagram to publish photo that excites and then also for the creation of a community. Then there is Twitter for a sharing of values, a creation of community. There is LinkedIn for sharing tools, entrepreneurship, and the creation of community. Then there is a YouTube that as a podcast. YouTube is for telling story with video and podcast is telling story with audio in detail. Then there is WhatsApp and Telegram that both of them it's for direct communication, audience segmentation and community creation. And then there is the newsletter that is for direct messages, more intimate communication and also audience segmentation. This is important. When I say audience segmentation means that the more you work, the more you understand that in a big sector of audience, you have some segments of people that maybe for every kind of segment, you have a different content to direct to them. Maybe to someone you want to express some parts of your project, to other another part. So this is very important. Then a part of the online, we have the press office. There is normally the online media. Nowadays it's more online media. Then there is the paper, newspaper, and the magazine. This is normally give to the project the service authority, indexing, and also web positioning. Then there is all the communication offline that we really need to understand also that even if now we are going more and more on digital, also the offline is very important. If I think about Wonder Grottole, if I wanna get a touch or aggregate the local community or to show them what we are doing, we need to go with, like with some posters, some flyers, or also if there are people that they are driving around, I need to put some road signs. Otherwise, like in a village, people can't find the right place. So it's always important for the offline. There are also the events, the festival, physical devices, furniture, pro forma contract, business cards, flyers, brochure, posters, all these things. So, um, this is what I wrote down. It's really for me what is the most relevant part. It's not important if you know or not how to use the communication channel. That means if you are not a master of Instagram, it's not important. But it's really important that you understand that you can define which channel your target, your audience use, because you want to communicate with your channel. And if you don't know what are the communication channels they use, you are not getting in touch with them. So this is very important. That's the reason because inside of a process of design, that's very important. Communication is part of your, let's say, enterprise, okay, your company. You must have the communication sector inside you. You have to design inside of all the process. But what this is very important. So we said so far many things, but we haven't defined what to communicate. So this is very important, very crucial part. That is story define the content. So storytelling is a storytelling technique useful for communicating thoughts, emotion, experiences, and more generally messages to listeners who, through a process of identification, participate in the story. The ultimate goal is not to inform, but to involve. I think this is very crucial definition of what is storytelling, especially for our school, because we are talking about village host. So all of you are people that want to involve the community inside the project. So our audience is not only people that we want to sell someone, but we want to make them feeling to be part of our project. So it's very important that we are not just informing. So we are not saying, come to Wonder Grotole and I sell you one night, I don't know, for 100 euro. I want to tell the people, come to Wonder Grotole because I restore an house. It's about regenerating an old village, and you can be part of this story. Of course, at the end, to be part, they pay 100 euro, but it's completely different the issue and the story that we are telling, because we are a social enterprise and our goal is not to sell, but to revitalize the historical center. That's the reason because at the beginning, I ask you what is the vision and mission of your project, because you must have very clear these two parts, otherwise very difficult to define the content of your communication. And so at the same time, it's very difficult to aggregate the community inside your project. Okay. So what content or story can I tell to define, to aggregate and communicate these things? There are different kinds. I put different kinds. For example, there is the branding content. So to say, these are very technical definition, but I want to make you aware that there are some words that now, from now on, even if you don't know it, maybe some of you already know it, but for other people that they know it, these are technical words and it's important that you know it. So it's branding content are the content in which you say who we are or you are, what you do and what you sell. Then there are the content, the work in progress. So the phases of product development of processes. Just to give you an example, if I say branded content for Wonder Grotole, I can say, okay, I'm Andrea Pauletti, I'm the co-founder, I'm an architect. Then there is Valentina, there is Silvio. Silvio is the local partner of the project. He was born and grew up in Grotale. So all these things, and we can show through pictures, video, or whatever. Work in progress is about, for example, we are renovating 2 new houses. So showing pictures that tell the people that our vision is revitalizing the historical center. The mission is to restore building. So the work in progress is that our mission in the store building, we are working on 2 new buildings. Then there is the satellite contact, are articles and news from our sector. This is important. Do you remember I give you as an example to talk and to describe your competitors or project people that inspire you? Okay, most of the time it's very important that your competitors become part of your communication because in a certain way you are taking, let's say, advantage of their visibility to also give maybe they start to interact with us and they want maybe to start some partnership. On the second hand, it's also important because um, the world is even bigger from what we are doing. So there are more projects. We can say there are other projects that we are interested about. Then there are the user-generated content. For example, if someone is coming to Wondergrottole and they go on Google, they can leave a review, and then we can take this review and publish on social media to say, oh, I don't know, Juan was in Wondergrottole, thinks it's a cool project. And so it's something that we are not telling that, but someone else is our audience that is telling that. Or other time, for example, we have guests that are coming to Grottole, they take pictures, and so they are producing content for us. And so how to use it. This is called user-generated content. Then there are the partners that are stories and values of their companies and also say who they are and what they do. For example, I can give an example of Casa Netra, the co-living in Matera that I run with my colleagues. And inside the house, you can find different pieces of furniture of different partners. So sometimes we just take pictures and we tell stories about these things. And it's a way then to talk about the partners of the project. And then, of course, the last part are quotes. So things that we say, words that other people they say that are important for us. So in order now we talk about editorial plan because as I told you many things so far, and sometimes you can say, okay, but how do I manage all these things, all this content? It's crazy. Yeah, of course. Not everyone is a communication manager, but I want just to make sure that everyone has a clear that to manage the communication. There are some tools, and the tools for the to publish the content is called editorial plan. So we plan our communication in advance through the editorial calendar in order to have precise ideas on the content with links. What are the links that we want to publish? What are the pictures? What are the events, sponsor, whatever, and create the content to aim the achievement of our goal. So remember that we talk about goals at the beginning. So you need to make a list of your goals. For every goal, we need to understand what are the kind of content that we want to produce. And once everything is done, we can use an editorial plan. This plan, I create for you this plan that you will find inside the page of the presentation, and you can just go on file, put downloads here, and you can download the Excel and you can use it for you. It's a job that I've done for you because I think it's very important. So you will find on the part on the top on the left your goals, so you can put your goals. I just put some example. For example, gain new subscription newsletter, or gain visualization, or wherever. You can put the goal of your communication. Then I create a legend for you with important dates. Maybe I just want to, sorry, enlarge a bit this. I want to enlarge a bit this you so you can see it better. Okay, so there is a legend where I put important date, advertisement, publish post, or to publish. For example, important date is, for example, if you have, I don't know, the date, it could be like a national date, or it could be like the birthday of your project or an event or wherever. Then publish post, you put in green all the posts that you already done, or to publish the one that you have to do it. And then it's really about week. It's divided in weeks. So just to give you an example again, here you will find a line where you can find the first days. For example, I couldn't change it because of my the Italian. By giovedì, it means like 1st July in this Thursday. So you really start a monthly is like 1st July, 2nd July, 3rd July, and you say every day what you want to publish. Very important. It's not necessary that you publish every day, but it's necessary that you fill in because it depends on how much time do you have and also the human resources that you can use it for these things. But it's important, the editorial plan, that you take, that you are aware the importance of this tool to organize all the content of your communication. For example, here you have also a line where I expressly put the channel, and here you can find Facebook, Instagram, or here is another channel, the one that you like, because this is part of your exercise. You have to understand what are the channels used by your audience, and then you can define these things. But as I said, there is week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. And then, for example, this is, for example, July, and then you can make August and so far. What is important is to leave track of all the communication you are doing. Because if you know what you are doing, what you have done, then you can measure the final results. So hopefully you can download and start to use also this editorial plan. At least take a bit of, if you have never used it before, just start to, use it just to understand what is the tool and how to implement it. Of course, you can change something if you want to change something. It's not a fixed one. It's just a tool that we normally use in Wonder Grotto and also Casa Natura. So this is really the editorial plan that we use and something that for me is very important. Then going back to our okay, going back to our presentation. This is what I've said before. What is very important about our communication is to have also the monitor and measure data. So it's very important that if we say that we have a goal, as we did in the first exercise, and we know then who is the target, what channel of the target are using, and what is the content, we need to understand if the work that we have done is creating really an impact on our project. So it's important to check in the data in the impact of our communication. Is the only way to understand if we have achieved to set the objectives, so the goals, and are communicating effectively, or if it's necessary to make change to our strategy. For example, we have been working, 2 weeks on a communication strategy. We release the communication, so we start to communicate, and we give us a deadline to say, okay, I want to see if in 1 month I can get, 200 people that want to be involved in our community projects. If we get, and we put as a goal 100 people. If at the end of the month we got only 10 people, we need to understand what didn't work, and we need to understand how to change our strategy, because of course it's not working. So we always need to monitor it. And the report must be elaborated periodically on the basis of the timing of the communication objective. What I said so far, if you give you a deadline, I don't know, it could be 2 days, 1 week, 3 weeks, 1 month, wherever for you is important, then you need to create a report every time. You should say, okay, this was my audience. This was my goal. This was my audience. These were my channel. I did all this activity, but I reach these goals. Sometimes it could be a result that is extraordinary positive. Other time could be worse. That's when you have to adjust it. There are some data monitoring platforms. One is Google Analytics. I don't know if all of you already works on Google Analytics. I want to show you Google Analytics, analytics of my company, when they got it, just to give you an example. You can have a website, just to understand it, you can have a website and you can understand how many people are going to your website. And then I'm gonna show you all the people and how you can see all the details. For example, if we are here, just give me a sec because I need to find, okay. Mhm. Okay, so it's charging. Just to give you an example, I'm not going into too many, but just to tell you, for example, I can see how many people they were in the last 7 days. How many people went to my website? It is 554. They give me here. They give me all some specific information. For example, people they stay into the website for 1 minute. That is like half percent of what they did, 50% less than the last 7 days. But if we go down, we can understand how the people get to the website. For example, there is here they can tell you organic search, direct through social referral, wherever. For example, here we can see how many people went to our website through social media. So we can understand if we are using well the social media. And then we can understand how many people are using the website in the last 30 days. We can understand in which week they are coming. Then we can understand what are the hours per day they are more frequent, the presence of people. So we can also understand, for example, if, for example, 12 a.m., there are many people. Also here in 11. And for example, if you ask me, why so late? Because in Italy, are there people that they look at the website at 12 a.m. or 11 p.m.? I know that this happened because Mariella, that she's co-founder of Casa Neutral, went on a TV show. In the TV show, she was on the TV at 11:30 at night. So, for example, Google Analytics says to me all this information. Then I can understand that, for example, Italy is the major audience for the website. I can see that the majority of people they are working through mobile, so smartphone, then laptop, and then tablet. This means that, for example, even when we design a communication, we need to understand that also for the user experience, the mobile is the most important part. So we need to design products, digital products that are good for, in this case, for mobile. So this is one. And then I want to show you, because I put here also Facebook or Instagram insights, Also, Facebook or Instagram give us this opportunity. For example, we can have a profile that is business profile. When I speak about business, it doesn't need to be like a multinational company, but we can be also a community project, for example, Casa Neutral. And here, at the same time as in Google Analytics, I can see all the data. For example, I can see that, for example, on Facebook, in the last 7 days, yeah, in the last no 1 month, uh, there was like half of people that went to our Facebook page. That means that the content were not so exciting. Then we can see the results in general, and we can see all the percentage, and these are how many likes and followers new we have on Instagram, how many followers. For example, here we see that we have 66 Instagram. It's 29% off, less than the previous month. Then we can see all the details of the public. For example, we can understand what is the major age of our public, and how many women, how many men. For example, we have 65% of women, and we have yeah, on Instagram this part, on Facebook on the other one. Then we can see what are the principal city or town that we have followers. Here the same, what are the most the country where we are more famous and where are the people most attractive. You can see, for example, on Instagram we have a quite big percentage of Spain and United States, and here on Facebook we have a diversity of people. And then about benchmark, as I said before, we have we can compare our company to other companies. Okay, now let's go back to our presentation. I wanted to give you this information just because I also want to make you conscious about the complexity of what we are doing, and at the same time also the opportunity, the communication can help us in structuring our project, and is also an opportunity to make the project sustainable, because the more people they know about our project, the more opportunity to be sustainable it is. Now, about useful tools, I share with you the buyer persona, the editorial calendar, and now also I want to underline another important part, because this will be also part of the work that I will ask you to do at home, which is about company contact database. I don't know how many people of you already do the contact database. It's something that personally, me as an Andrea, I'm very focused, because I think that when we start to speak to the people, it starts also our job. So we don't need to think that when we speak to people is not part of our job, but because when we speak to someone, we are already promoting our project. We are asking for feedback. We are involving. We are starting to attract people that could be interesting to our project. So, ciao Claudia. So that's very important.
Ciao, grazie.
It's very important that you start to put the name and the surname, then city, mail, phone, products, both, or interested about. These are just an example of line. But it's very important that you start to put, for example, I don't know, the first person that you start to talk about your product here. So at the end you have a long list. Or if you already have some list, you need to find a way to put all the information together. Yeah, Ivana, that's good that you have all the contact points of your previous guests. This is very important. They can be private person, not company. That's very important. In fact, if you go down here, down in the presentation, you can find the clients, and these are like companies. So you can have two people, clients on one and companies on the other. This is important. So you have two lists, but these are the first people. For example, if you start a website, if you start a Facebook page or wherever, and you have the emails or phone number of these people, you can send them an email to say, I'm very excited I want to share with you this important news about my new project. Or if you have a new service and new products, or you want to engage them asking for a feedback, maybe you can say, hey, you were very important for me at the beginning of my idea development. Now I want to involve you in this new part and you are really important for me. So all these things are very important and you need a database. So even if you don't have a database, what I ask you is to work on the database. Okay? So these three useful tools, you will find it into the presentation that is already on the platform. And this is also the link for the Miro template for building the buyer persona. And you will find also some links to a bibliography or cytography for online tools and resources that were interesting for me and I want to share with you. And now we are at the end of the lesson, so we are really on time. And I'm going to ask you to do these homeworks. These are homeworks, listen, not for next time, not for Thursday. My goal is not to give you homeworks for Thursday, but I want to give you an homeworks that is very useful for you, for your projects. So what I've been telling you during this hour and a half is really some information, some new tools that you can use for your pilots. You know that at the end of the online training, there will be the week in Grottole, and then you will have 3 months of pilot projects. So what I'm going to ask you is at the end of the online training, to aggregate all this information, all this homework that me, but also my colleagues of partners, we are giving you to arrive in Grottole with a pilot that is more developed from the one that you send us when you have to participate to the online school for villagers. So the homeworks that I give you are 4, and let's go through the list of 4. There is, let's begin to aggregate a community interested in your service product and imagine how you could start promote it. So this is really like working again as you have done at the beginning to create a vision, but also how to communicate this vision to your, let's say, audience. Then the other is who may be interested in buying and sharing the product. To this, we started with our current audience because, of course, some of you already have a current an audience, and the audience is the customers and the supporters. So the community and people that are already buying your services or products. So for this reason, you create a contact database using the example, the Excel that I gave you. Then I ask you to outline a list of 3 new buyer persona using the tool of the buyer persona. I ask you to not just focus on one, but at least 3 profiles, 1 male, 1 female, different ages and social background that could be interesting for your project. And then based on the target, on the goals of your objective and of your project, imagine and schematically outline which communication channel to activate and also defining the contact for every channel. Okay, so I think in general, these are what I'm gonna ask you. You're welcome, Natasha. And then because we are, so I want to underline again hopefully it's clear that these are homeworks not for Thursday. So I'm not gonna ask you so many things, but just I'm gonna ask you to really focus on these homeworks that are helpful for developing and to design your project, and so your pilot, the one that you are going to do in the last 3 months of this course. Now, before going away, I don't know if all of you have already seen this part of the whole presentation, but these are very important just because today I started to write on the forum in the platform. So what I'm gonna ask you is really to participate to the life of the platform. As I said at the beginning, I'm very sorry that we had problems so far with the use of the platform, but as we already communicate to you, also the platform is part of the pilot of the Open School for Villages. So something is not working 100%, but it must be working 100% at the end of all the school, of all the project that is at the end of this year. And you are, in a certain way, you are a trial with us for these things. But what is important at the moment is that the more we are sharing the content of the Open School for Villages, the more you want to also communicate what we are doing. It's very important. So you can share with your community, you can share with your friends, partners, family, wherever what we are doing. We have a website that is called villagos.eu, and you can use this part to be social. You can share some pictures of you working on your project. You can share the content of your project on social media using the hashtag villagos. For example, if you follow me on Instagram tonight, I'm gonna actually now my Instagram is and is like Andrea Paoletti, so A-N-D Paoletti. And now in this moment, I'm publishing a story on Instagram and I'm using the hashtag Villagos. I think the more we are talking about Villagos, the more is also spreading not only what we are doing as a partners for Villagos, but also what you are doing as a Villagos, because you must understand that Villagos, it doesn't exist in the world so far. We are creating this new world and this new profession of Villagos. So you are really the first Villagos in the world, and that's very important. And then I put, and I can also show you here, hopefully it will work because I'm not 100% sure. If you go, I'm gonna show you here. Let me check. Training Villagos. Sorry, I'm doing it live with you. So if we go here in starting of place tonight, there is in the forum. Okay, if we go in the forum, I start a discussion that is called "What's the vision of your project? What's the mission of your project?" I really would like that every one of you can go inside. I wrote a test, and I'm asking you to write down who you are, what is the vision of your project, and what is the mission of your project. I think this is the important part. So we start to introduce ourselves. I know that we haven't had so much time to introduce ourselves. Some of you had the time to do it during some courses, but I think this is also an important example. Just to start to introduce ourselves, I introduce myself in the example here. And now it's your turn. So what I'm asking you is to you for next Thursday, this is possible in 2 days, to go in the forum area and to write down what is your project about, so vision and mission. So this is a way also to introduce ourselves. So this is done. I'm open to question if you have it. I'm gonna. Where should just Okay, so now we can see one another. So I'm looking forward to going in the forum. 1 hour. What should we write? Yeah, Ivana, if you go to the forum, you will find I wrote there a text and you can read it. It's very easy on the forum. Yes. In the forum, so we start also to use the forum because at the beginning we had a problem also with the forum. Now it's working. Yeah, maybe link. That's good. I will send you the link through. Let me check because I don't know. Let me check here. Yes, this one. Thank you, Dragana. Okay, this is the link. It should work. Okay. If I go here, let me see if it's working. Yes, it's working. Okay. I think from this moment on, this is the first discussion that I started in the forum. I think it's important because this is the lesson of about communication, and also we are also working on creating a community between us. That is the first community of the Open School for Villages. And from this moment on, I also push you to start some discussion in the forum. So if you have any question about your project, about general things, wherever, you can start a discussion so all the other participants can write down. The other thing that you can do, because you are a member of the platform, you can ask the friendship to the other participants. For example, before starting this lesson, I asked to all of you, so we are almost 60 on the platform. I ask all of you the friendship so I can connect directly with you. I really would like that this platform become really a peer-to-peer platform where we can share our tools, feeling, emotions, project, and all the means that's the reason because we created the Open School for Villagers, and that's the reason because we really wanted hardly the platform, even if, as I said again, we had problems so far, but this is the goal. Okay, so now the time is finished. I don't want to stall too much time to your life, but if you have a question, please write in the chat and I can answer. And if you don't have other question, I just say bye-bye. It was a pleasure to spend this time for you. And I will follow you for the next lesson. And then I will be very, very happy to welcome you in Grottole during the month of May. Ciao Irene, ciao Leva, ciao Selena, ciao Ivana, ciao Annalisa.